Manager to sniffing your dog's poop, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the weirdest things we've been caught doing. I'm Melissa, and today I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by Ultraman1. One day, Spinal Palm accidentally went to class without putting on any deodorant. It was a really hot summer's day, so he sat in the back row with his arms glued to his sides, hoping that no one would find out he was stinky. After a while, Spinal Palm's mind started wandering. He became really curious about what his sweaty armpits would taste like. So, while being as stealthy as possible, he pulled his shirt to his mouth and started licking the armpit. His teacher immediately caught him and said,
"Hey, Spinal Palm, does that taste good?"
Before he knew it, the whole class was laughing at him, and he developed a reputation as an armpit-licking weirdo. Number 9 was submitted by 9Kirby99. When Dolan was 6 years old, he and his brother were messing around with a bunch of balloons and an air pump. They were having heaps of fun blowing up the balloons and throwing them around. Then, Dolan got the brilliant idea to shove 2 balloons under his shirt. His brother recognized that this was pure genius and did it too. Just at this moment, their mother walked past, saw that they were pretending to have boobs, and grabbed her video camera. She filmed them dancing up against each other and rubbing their inflated chests. This footage is lying in wait, ready to embarrass them at the next family get-together. Number 8 was submitted by Grunt Spartan 500. One day, a teenage slapped ham took his dog for a walk around the neighborhood. They were on their way home when the dog decided to take a shit on the neighbor's lawn. Slapped ham was annoyed, but being the responsible dog owner he was, he bent down to pick it up. While he was down there, Slapped ham had a complete brain malfunction and started sniffing his dog's poop. Of course, his neighbors picked this exact moment to come out of their house. They looked at Slapped ham with disgust and shouted,
"Hey kid, are you retarded?"
Slapped ham was so embarrassed. He hasn't been able to live this down and now walks his dog over on the other side of the street. Number 7 was submitted by T. Busta. Tolop had started a new job and hadn't made any friends yet. One afternoon during his shift, he really needed to pee, so he ducked into the men's room. No one was around, so, as he stepped up to the urinal, he started singing the old Batman theme song. Only his version went,
"Na na 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 pissing, pissing, pissing."
Just as he finished, Tolop heard a door open and saw one of his new coworkers coming out of a cubicle. Luckily, the guy didn't make a big deal about it. He said,
"Hey, we all do weird things when we're alone."
It turned out to be a pretty good icebreaker. Number 6 was submitted by Top Hat and Goggles. When Nixium was in college, he and his friends played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. Nixium was a dungeon master and was working on a new villain for the group. One day, during a slow shift at work, Nixium began role-playing as the new villain. The character was demonic and had crazy eyes and a really deep voice. Nixium checked that no customers were around and said,
"Foolish adventurers, you have sealed your doom in my unholy temple, and now you die."
Of course, Nixium hadn't noticed that this manager was standing right behind him. The manager asked what the hell he was doing, and Nixium had to explain his secret hobby. It became an embarrassing little inside joke between them. Number 5 was submitted by Illumaleni. Pringle isn't proud of this. One day, he was using his computer while eating a bag of Doritos. His mom was sleeping in the other room, and Pringle figured it was safe to watch a bit of porn. For some reason, Pringle continued eating his Doritos while he was jerking off, and dust and crumbs were all over his junk. He lost track of time and didn't notice when his mom came in to talk to him. She saw the cheesy, Dorito-y mess he had made and screamed. She wasn't horrified about the porn or masturbation, but was deeply disturbed that he was doing it with Doritos. Number 4 was submitted by Redneck Reptile 180. Not many people know this, but Hellbent loves his pet reptiles. One day, he wanted to do something nice for them, so he cooked up the raw crickets in some delicious bacon grease. This was such a hit with his pets that Hellbent wanted to try it for himself. He cooked up a big batch of the crunchy insects and started chowing down. When Hellbent's mom came home, she saw her son eating disgusting bugs and shouted, "What on earth are you doing?" Hellbent got a big lecture about why it's not okay to cook insects on his mom's stove, and he was grounded for a week. Number 3 was submitted by I Love Bubby Bear 777. When Shima was in elementary school, she loved to secretly eat paper. She'd done this for years and had never gotten caught. But one day, while Shima was enjoying some papery goodness, she noticed that one of her classmates was looking at her weirdly. The classmate asked what Shima was doing, and Shima said, "Nothing," with a mouthful of paper. The kids ended up telling their teacher, who called Shima's parents. When Shima got home, she got a huge lecture about why we don't eat paper. Shima was super embarrassed and had to slowly kick her delicious habit. Number 2 was submitted by Breelys12. Doopy has a very active imagination. In private, she enjoys doing strange stuff like pretending to have seizures and flapping her arms and squawking like a bird. One day, Doopy's brother came home from work and caught her at a particularly weird moment. She was laying on her back, moaning like a dying cat. She was drooling. Her eyes were dilated, and she was slowly waving her arms and legs in the air. At first, Doopy's brother thought she was on drugs, but then he realized that she was just weird. He was deeply disturbed by this, and said it would have actually been less awkward if he'd caught her masturbating. And for number 1, I'm going to tell you about the weirdest thing I've been caught doing. A few years ago, I was auditioning for the role of a witch. This was a voice acting role, and it required me to have the best evil laugh possible. So, I would practice it at any opportunity I would get before I submitted my recording. It kind of went something like this. So, yeah, you can imagine why I was pretty dang embarrassed when my teacher and a few of my classmates walked in and heard this. They thought I was crazy. Should have done this from the privacy of my own home instead of a damn classroom. Anyway, live and learn. Huge thanks for all the folks over on our Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you. What's the dumbest way you've ever asked someone out?